Conceptualization of government as a social contract based on the greco-roma ideas of democracy and biblical governance shaped by Enlightenment. In the social contract, we the people and we the government have mutually reinforcing roles, and like to suggest that many of the issues we are seeing in the headlines across the country today stem at its core to a breakdown in that social contract, with one or both of us not living up to our responsibilities private citizen. So what is our role as private citizen in this social contract? It can be concluded that social contract have many effects on our social life in society. Rousseau's theory of the social contract is that each individual delegates all his individual rights to the community as a whole. With that, all natural rights, including complete freedom to do as one heart, move to the community, or in other words, living together automatically demanded that each person's freedom be limited for the sake of the rights and freedom of others who equal in magnitude. Also, by demands left together, this means that the freedom of a person will be limited by the freedom of the other person. In this theory, it is understood that members of different socio-religious groups volunteer themselves to interact, but they remain loyal to their religion. The social contract binds the community because before they carry out the contract, there is an agreement made by the community with the government, so that the social contract has an influence on the running of the government.
Okay, here I want to explain about history of the good governance. Good governance emerged around the 1998s or the late 1918s. The paradigm emerged because the World Bank assumption that anything was possible and that whatever aid is provided to developing countries, it must be spent without a trace and cannot bring those countries to a better state. The World Bank, as its initiative, seeks to introduce good governance as a means of promoting good governance. Public sector management program to create a good government within the framework of development aid requirement. The World Bank has defined good governance as training political power for management states, where political legitimacy and consensus are prerequisite for sustainable development. Actually, in the case of the state, business and civil society must have synergies to build consensus, and the role of the state is no longer regulator but an only facilitator. Therefore, the political legitimacy and consensus that are the main pillar of World Bank governance will be stabilized by involving the broadest non-state actor and limiting state or government involvement. Good governance is widely introduced by donor institutions or foreign lenders such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank, IMF, and other lending institutions from developed countries. Good governance is as an aspect of consideration of donor institution in making loans and grants. Good governance could not be realized, among other things, due to a centralized autocratic system with inefficiency, bureaucracy, subdivision. The ordination of legal institution, bureaucracy, and public servant institution by certain elite and rules lead to the emergence of corrupt parties and weak public accountability. The competence of official in various public and political position, and the absence of participant and organization in the public sector. Civil society is quite strong in development process.
I will explain the elements and principles of good governance. Basically, there are three main pillars that support the ability of a nation to implement good governance, which consists of government, civil society, and the business world. The administration of good governance was achieved when in the application of political, economic, and administrative authority have equal and synergist networks and interaction. If apply 8 principles below. 1 is participation. Participation in the concept of good governance here is an opportunity for everyone to voice their opinions through institution or representation. In addition, our society has life freedom of association and expression as long as they live in this world. 2. Rule of law. To implement good governance, the legal framework in the country must be enforced impartially, especially concerning human rights law. 3. Transparency. Transparency means that every policy taken and implemented by the government must be carried out under existing regulation. In addition, there must be a guarantee that any information related to the policy can be accessed by everyone, especially those who are directly affected by the policy. 4. Responsiveness. Good governance needs institutions and processes to attempt serve all stakeholders within a reasonable time. 5. Consensus-oriented. This 5 principle is related to the decision-making process. When the decision-making process cannot accommodate everyone's wishes, then at a minimum, the decision must be a decision that can be accepted by everyone and does not harm anyone. 6. Equity and inclusiveness. Good governance ensures justice for the community. Everyone has been improving their welfare with same opportunity. 7. Effectiveness and efficiency. Every decision-making process and its institution must be able to produce decisions that meet every community need. Community resources must also be utilized optimally by the government. 8. Accountability. All institutions involved in good governance have full responsibility to the public for the sake of improving the quality of society. Thank you.
Public service is formed from political activities arising from the presence of the state and citizens. In the fundamental theory of the formation of a state is formed by an agreement between a group of individuals who have social relations to realize a political order that can govern their lives and accommodate their interests with a social agreement or social contract. In the social contract point of view, the people hold a standing position as a large group that mandates a small group of governments to serve them with mutually agreed authority to fulfill common interests. In the context of fulfilling this common interest, those who are mandated, then called the government, they tasked with organizing the government by providing public service to the community. Rousseau's classic theory of social contracts is very interesting to explain the state and people's relationship in realizing good governance and providing good public service and paying attention to integrity values for all who have given them the mandate. This fundamental value that should underpin all actions undertaken by the state in the performing its function, namely gains the mandate. It would be a great betrayal if they, a small group governments, were given this mandate and then reneged on the social contract, such as making concessions or service that were supposed to be provided properly, or, for example, making concessions on the use of public funds sourced from the people, because they were not able to do so. In fact, the service aspect of the public funds used in the public service belong to the people who mandated it on the basis of a social contract.
I will explain about good governance issue. Governance has emerged as a crucial issue, and it's a crucial of both healthy economic growth and human development. Countries must improve their governance if they wish to see stronger economic and human development. We see this all clouded with a political lens because politics is not about governance. Politics are about individual, and in effect, politics tend to create party-reinforced personality cults. In summary, good governance is related to the political and institutional processes and outcomes necessary to achieve the goals of development. The real issue with good governance is the extent to which they live up to the promise of human rights, civil, cultural, economic, political, and social rights. The key question is, are the institutions of governance effectively guaranteeing to the right, health, adequate housing, sufficient food, quality education, fair justice, and personal security? Good governance and human rights are mutually reinforcing. Human rights standards and principles provide a set of values to guide the work of government and other political and social actors. Moreover, human rights principles inform the content of good governance effort. They may inform of development of legislative frameworks, policies, programs, budgetary allocation, and other measures. A group of citizens in an economically distressed neighborhood challenged with developing an action plan where they could leverage local resources and government action to create traction for change in their community. And one elderly woman spoke up and said, I don't feel safe in my community, but I think I will feel safer if all the streets like war.
The classic theory of the social contract by J.J. Rousseau explains the relationship between the state and the people in realizing good governance, providing good public services, and paying attention to the values of integrity in all communities. In addition, according to greco-roman theory, the social contract was a time when governments and the society were able to strengthen each other's. Public service is made through political activities arising from the presence of the state and citizens. In the basic theory of state formation, it is that the state is formed by agreement between a group of individuals who have social relationship to realize a political order that can regulate life and accommodate their interests, known as social agreement or social contract. Social contract can be explicit, such as laws, or implicit, such as raising one's hand in class to speak. Regardless of whether social contracts are explicit or implicit, they provide a valuable framework for harmony in society. Any problems that occur within our governments today are due to a break in that social contract. In addition, it could be also due to both parties failing to fulfill their responsibilities. Therefore, a social contract between the government, the private sector, and the general public is needed for good governance. It would be a great betrayal if the officials who are given this mandate then renege on their social contract by, for example, misappropriating the services that should be provided properly. Good public service will emerge from good governance, and good governance emerge when there is strong social control by civil society over the state.